like it, but it's not okay.
What's going on, YouTube? I'm back with another video. As you saw in the last video, I blew up the Infinity engine, put a big hole in the block, threw a rod out of it. So I spent some time before this video, saved some time, and pulled the engine out of this car. And that was not fun at all. I got it. Got one of them. And then we got the engine moved over into the portable garage over here. It's pretty crusty looking, but I ran it for a little while. It didn't have no coolant, but it seemed to have ran fine. But in this video, we're gonna be tearing apart all the good parts off this engine so I could reuse them for that one. So it'd be like the upper, lower plenum, the injectors, coil packs, brand new metal valve covers, the front timing cover. I'm gonna try to reuse the crank pulley too. And then yeah, basically get this engine torn apart. So I'll throw you guys on the tripod and we'll get to it. Holy crap, that's crazy. Alright, so I've never blown an engine up before. This is the first engine I've blown up. And wow, I just got chunks resting in my upper intake plenum. Is that piston scraper ring? Holy crap, this thing blew up. Everyone just says pull up on them. Huh? They don't pull up. Oh! I got one, but I bet the line. I'll make it work. Alright, so we got metal down in the head. This one's completely full of oil. There's a peanut down in here. I don't know how that got there. There's also a silver nut right here. Don't know how that got there. Milwaukee for the win. crazy. That piston ring. I don't even know what this is. Oh. On the connecting rod end. I think that's what broke off. Oh. There's half a piston. So I know this is what everyone wants to see right here. Oh, piston ring, chunks of piston. There's an oil scraper. Or that ain't an oil scraper, oil squirter. So here it is. I got everything torn off this engine that I think I may need. We got the fuel injectors and the rails, the upper plenum and the spacer, both metal valve cover gaskets. We got the oil pan. I'm probably just gonna clean it up and use it as a spare. The manual harness from this engine, because my car's a manual, and that engine has an automatic harness on it. We got the tensioner pulleys and the harmonic. We got the alternator, the starter, the timing cover, and then also a brand new timing chain kit and water pump. That's a Nissan water pump. I literally just put it all in the engine roughly 8 months ago. So yeah. So I'm gonna stop the video here. It's starting to get dark, and I'll bring back tomorrow when it's light outside, and I'll start tearing this engine apart. It's the next day. Hopefully you guys are having a good day. Yesterday you saw me disassemble the old engine out of the Infinity. Today I have to tear off everything basically that I took off of that engine, off of this one. Yeah, I'm not gonna bore you guys and make you watch me do this, so I get to do a little bit of YouTube magic for the first time. So, you ready? So there it is. Got the engine all torn apart. This was actually a lot rougher than I thought it was going to be, because I had to take off both manifolds because the top bolts to these engine mounts, I don't know if Nissan put them on too tight or if the person before me did, but yeah, I spent forever trying to take those off. So I had to take the manifolds off to get to these bolts. So yeah, it took forever, but cleaned up all the contact surfaces, the oil pan and for the timing cover. Then we got all the parts over here. It's gonna go on the new engine. So we got the valve covers, the intake plenum, we got all the bolts, oil pan, alternator, starter, harmonic balancer, tensioner. So these lines right here, it said I ordered from GK Tech, but it says it's for 350Z left-hand drive only. I was looking up the power steering racks, and they looked identical. How these lines ran and everything, because I broke that line taking this engine out. So I need to do something with that. So I ordered this kit, and one line will fit, but the short line, I can't get both ends of these to fit right. So, and that's the line I need to replace. So I called Infinity, and that line's discontinued. So if you're pulling an engine on one of these cars, be very careful. Do not break that line. So now I'm gonna have to figure out a way to probably like fabricate a line or something, because I spent probably 4 hours online looking for an aftermarket line and I couldn't find one. So that's where we're at with that. So we got new engine mounts from Z1. They're really good engine mounts. I like them. I like the build design of them. But for how much you pay for them, they don't give you any bolts. So like in my situation where the bolts were just rounding off, I don't have any good bolts to put on these engine mounts. So now I'm gonna go to the store and find some bolts for those. Got some gaskets to go to the test pipe. Here's a part number for them. And then we got the 2 O-rings for the timing cover. There's part number for those, OEM part number. Now these are very important. You guys can't forget these. One goes here and one goes right here. If you forget these and you put your timing cover on, you'll have a bunch of timing codes, because oil feeds the solenoids for your actuators. So that's definitely a must-have. We got new spark plugs, because obviously it's an old 130,000 mile engine out of that car. So the spark plugs I got are actually 1 step colder, because if you have any modifications like cold air intake, exhaust, stuff like that, it's good to go 1 step colder on your spark plugs. We got the lower plenum gasket, part number. We got 3 fuel line gaskets, because, well, there's a part number. And then I got 3 of them because in the last video I bent my fuel line for the old engine. So I'm actually gonna just use this fuel rail and fuel line. I ran this engine and it ran fine, so I popped the hose off right here. I ordered 3 because I thought it was 1, 2, and then the third one on the corner of the intake that goes with the car over there. So I think I'll only be needing 2 of them, but it's better to have them than not have them. We got the Z1 plenum spacer gasket, and then we got the OEM plenum gasket that goes in the bottom, and then you got the Z1 that goes in the top. We got those. We got new flywheel bolts, because it's not good to reuse them. New valve cover gaskets for both sides. I believe those are the same. No, those are different part numbers. We got 1 exhaust manifold gasket, because I wasn't planning to take both of them off, but the reason why I had 1 of them was because I was missing 2 bolts on the other side. I was missing 2 bolts on here, so I figured that I was going to take this manifold off anyways and reseal it. And then I had those engine mount issues and had to take this side off too, so we're going to have to find another exhaust manifold gasket. That's good. I'm just using Nissan's liquid gasket. You use one of these and it'll reseal basically the whole engine. Front timing cover, oil pan, it'll reseal the valve covers also. But yeah, that's pretty much all the parts that I have here. I received 2 letters from the city of Jackson One of them says that I have multiple recreational vehicles on property. I had to basically like give my boat away. So that's one of them. And the other one says, please remove all temporary structures from property. Supposedly, I'm not allowed to have a soft-sided structure on my property. So I have 10 days to reassemble this engine, get the car running, get the car out of here, and then tear down the carport because I'm not allowed to have it. So when you're sealing the valve cover, you're going to want to put RTV all the way around it. All the way around it, but on the inside of every one of these bolt holes. If you go on the outside of the bolt hole, it's going to be prone to leak through the bolt hole. So when you're going around, go around the inside, around the whole cover, and then you're going to want to go around the inside right here, around each one of these bolt holes. And then sometimes if you're having a problem with this seal sticking, you can put a little bit under the corners of the seal to help hold it in place. So when you tap it onto the engine over there, it doesn't fall out of place or move out of place. After you RTV the valve cover, you're going to want to come over here and then RTV on the upper oil pan along right here and right here. And then make sure you do all this and you put your timing cover on before you put your oil pan on, because you still have those two bottom bolts that you have to put in your timing cover. These O-rings fit pretty snug up in here, so I wouldn't worry too much about falling out when you're putting the cover on. Got 3 big bolts. 2 go in. I think it's a bracket for your power steering pump. I don't know why I'm so confused about that. If you have electric fans and you don't have a fan with a fan clutch, then there's that pulley right here with the 4 bolts on it. If you take that pulley off, it mounts underneath this bracket. So when you go put the bolt in, there's not going to be a mounting place to put that in. They make special kits online that come with literally a spacer. So what I did was I just cut the ear off of the pulley. I cut the ear off of the bracket and then basically just use that as a spacer, so you don't have to buy that kit online. Like, you can just get it for free. So then two 12mm bolts, both the bottom down here. 1 medium size bolt. That medium size bolt goes up here in the corner. The rest of the 10mm bolts are just going to go around the outside of the cover. And then there's 4 in the center, 1 right there, and 1 right here. What? Are you serious? I don't get a break. Alright. So, every single bolt fits in this cover until you get on this side. Every single bolt fits in the cover until you get right here. So, supposedly now I can't use this cover because it don't fit on the back cover. I got the front timing cover back off of it. All this RTV's wet, so I'm gonna let it dry before I clean it off. That cover I'm gonna have to clean. It's gonna take a little while. I showed you guys how to put the cover on, so I'm probably gonna do that off camera. Now it's time to get the valve covers and lower and upper plenum on. Started raining, so I had to take the table down and put the parts and everything everywhere. So let's get back to it. Ten valve cover bolts that go in this valve cover. So I don't know the torque spec on these bolts, but every time I put the valve covers on, I just work from the center outward. And then after I get all those snug down, then I'll go over every single one with like a half a turn. Alright, so it's going to be hard for you guys to see this side, but it's the same concept as the last side. You just put RTV up in the corners and then drop the valve cover on. Camera died. We threw you up there so you can see me assemble the upper part of this engine because this engine stands kind of high. So 6 bolts in here, the 2 nuts on the side. But before bolting this down, you have to put your upper plenum gasket on. C1 plenum spacer gasket. So for the upper plenum, you're going to have the 6 bolts up top. You're going to want to get like a washer that has a rubber grommet mated to it, because these bolts are likely to leak. After you got the long 6 in and then the longer one by the throttle body in, then you have the rest of the bolts to go all around the outside. We're putting the header on. There's 7 bolts that go to this header in total. Alright, so I'm going to end this video here. It's starting to get a little long, but this is what we got with the engine. I wasn't able to find a manifold gasket, so I got one on order and I should pick it up at work tomorrow. Also, the front timing cover, I wasn't able to find a front main seal for it, so I ordered another one of them and I'll pick that up at work tomorrow too. And then I'll also clean this cover up because it's pretty dirty. So hopefully you guys enjoyed watching me put this engine together, or most of it together. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, drop a comment down below, and share this to anybody that you may know, because it'll help me get these videos out to bigger audiences. And with that, until next time.